All right, everybody, we're back. Day 2 of the Hong Kong WOW Summit, the edition of the WOW Summit in Hong Kong. I'm with a great friend, but a new friend from the Animoca brands, Mr. Evan Auyang. We did not just come off stage like I did with your partner the other day, but I would love to learn from you what's going on in Animoca yourself. But give the audience about who you are and what you do for the brand.
Yeah, so I'm the group president of Animoca Brands, right? We are a investor, advisor, and asset accumulator in the Web3 space. We innovate projects, so we have native projects like a Sandbox, that's our subsidiary, and we have Mocaverse, which is our decentralized identity platform. We have EDU, or Open Campus, which is our education platform. And then we also have 600 portfolio companies around the globe for us. So we are pretty international, and obviously we are with a JV with Standard Chartered Bank and HKT with the Hong Kong dollar stablecoin. Right.
Amazing. That was a very compact but amazing introduction of what you do. But do you have a favorite topic or subtopic of what you guys are working in? You know, it can be the Mocaverse, stable coins, the VC side investment. Is there a favorite of yours as a group president of the brand?
Well, I think, I can't have a favorite necessarily.
I would say a focus.
So what we do right now is that we feel that one of the things that I will highlight is that the RWA space is coming, right? So people feel that we're very native, right? We're in all the sectors, right? Obviously, we're big on decentralized identity via Mocaverse because we feel that in Web3 space, that is what's going to be next, right? So, but I'm not going to focus on that today, right? Because people can read up on off that the native guys know about us.
Right.
People are wondering why we're in the institutional space, right? So we are now building what we call Nuva, which is with Providence Labs.
What was that, Nuva?
Nuva, yeah.
Okay.
N-U-V-A, Nuva,
great.
which is a decentralized, it's basically a DeFi, institutional DeFi.
Very good.
Right? And we're building it with Providence Labs, and that is sort of funded by Figure Markets, right? Figure Markets is kind of like it's going for its own IPO right now, and we're going after the space.
May I ask?
That is Nuva is a global,
okay.
right? Have like almost like a joint venture, if you will,
right?
But Figure Markets is sort of like going to IPO. Figure, right? It's going to IPO itself, right? So that asset that they're producing, which is the is home mortgage loans natively on chain, will be part of what we'll be distributing through this platform. But DeFi ultimately is about what you can invest into, and that is enabled by the other thing that we're doing, which is stablecoins, right? So we feel that this is the year where we talk about the use cases via institutional adoption of Web3 or digital assets, right? And that infrastructure that we're building via DeFi and stablecoins is what we feel will be the next big thing coming in addition to what I call the native space, right? So in terms of Sandbox, which is GameFi, in terms of sort of education, which we feel is a huge market. If we look at just student loans alone, which we're going after, is a huge market, and decentralized identity, very, very core to native Web3, right? That's a portfolio that we have, plus 600 other portfolios, right? But the institutional space is just trying to grow right now. So we're definitely going to have more institutional type partnerships in order to go after this space.
Amazing. I want to stick on that topic of institutions because everybody's talking about it. Not a lot of people are attacking it, right? We have even the chains, Solana has been trying to branch out from their crypto bro stage into a more sophisticated stage through super teams around the world. One in London is attacking institutions, Dubai is attacking the VC, PE side. So they're all trying, but then when I look at the upper level echelon of companies like yourselves, I want to stick to the institution side because we've always known that stable coins are going to be the answer to that solution for them because they're constantly working with different problems, remittance and trade, China to Africa, China to LATAM, and how? The question is how, and the how is in stable coins. And we have this big bad boss in America called Tether, right? Is that going to be the worldwide answer? Who knows? Is there going to be a new one, or is it going to be jurisdictionally? Do you have an opinion on that as far as stable coins and maybe institution governments go?
Well, at the end of the day, Tether is very dominant because of crypto trading, right? And that's the first, is a huge adoption, huge TVL, what you call, right? But we feel that ultimately, if stablecoin, if you believe that RWAs is the thing, RWAs will be regulated, right? Because it's like they're securities, right? A
Correct.
lot of them will be securities,
Correct.
right? Or security-like features, right?
Correct.
So you're connecting the space, the TradFi space, with the native space, on-chain space. You have to be in a regulated space. So regulated stablecoins is the way to go, right? Now, if that's the larger market, then you would see that there will be more and more of the regulated stable coins going on
Right.
through, like, even your new US dollars is the Genius Act, sort of what you call legitimizing US dollars. So Circle has always been the one that has been leading the standards in sort of like, what is the right way of, launching the right US dollar stablecoin, and they're the most dominant player right now in that
Right.
regulated space. Tether is moving towards that direction as well because they understand that. But you will see that as the Genius Act takes hold, there will be more and more stable coins in US dollars because it's a dominant currency in the world. But in different domiciles of the world, what we expect is that every country will need to have its own regulation on stable coins, and therefore facilitating global trade to protect their own national sovereignty.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, all the assets on chain can't be priced in US dollars, right? And the less stable your assets are, the less attractive your capital assets would be from that country to global investors, right? So ultimately, what is blockchain? Ultimately, blockchain is about connecting the world in a decentralized manner, right? If you're connecting that through stable coins, ultimately, it's a very, very important piece of legislation that every country
100%.
got to go after.
100%. So I want to stick on that again because when we think of Animoca, I've been in the space for over 12 years as a Bitcoin researcher first, miner, and then turned degen and all the ebbs and flows of the industry. But we notoriously think of you guys as a gaming company or a metaverse. And I want to totally stay away from that right now because I'm loving this conversation about institutions, because I don't think many people hear that from your brand. And more recently, that's really your hyper focus.
Yeah.
And it's such an important topic because it's not a sexy topic. It's not something what everybody, but that's where we're going to need to go in order for, like you said, every nation to be able to compete at the higher level. Now, they're going to have their own regulations jurisdictionally. So EU, MiCA is a disaster right now because they're making it just closed door. Opposite, VARA, ADGM, and UAE is opening the door. Now, not so easy. Everyone says, let's go after VARA. Not so easy, I'm sure you know. With the Genius Act, that's another one, but it seems more open door. So I'm loving this because we were 3 years ago wondering, where are we going to get this innovation from? All of a sudden, it's how fast is this innovation coming and what are we going to build in the next 3 years? And so the institution, the stablecoin side, I think by the end of, and I don't care for the administration of any administration, but Trump and their, they've opened the doors. So we have 3 more years of that innovation as far as politics goes. And we all know politics runs the game as far as crypto. It's just the way it goes. So what I'm hearing from you guys is you're attacking all of those head on. I heard identity, which is very important, education, right? And then tokenization of those assets, which are securities, which unfortunately people don't tend to respect because 20, 30 years ago, you would take Series 7, 63, 59 to get your securities license to trade these stocks. I'm hoping that's how crypto is going to become because we need to sophisticatize whatever ourselves, right? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that's the direction the industry is going, right? Because crypto is always such like there's a nativity to it because there's this innovation, it's a decentralized manner about trustless, right?
Right.
Trustlessness itself necessitates a thought about how do you self-regulate, how do you trust each other rather than via regulation. But when you're connecting the two spaces together with TradFi and all of that and money in general, you do have to worry about things like what about money laundering and all of that stuff, right? And what about knowing your customer and things like that, which is the same thing. You don't want illicit movement of funds, right? So at the end of the day, what you will find is that as these spaces connect, there are ways to sort of like, regulate, but not over-regulate, but really take on the ethos of decentralization and the power that it holds, right? And domiciles that understand that, right, will ultimately be the ones that win. And right now, funny enough, it might be the US again.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Right. Just a quick story. 2015, I moved out of LA to go to Dubai because it was taxing me, hurting me. They wanted to jail me, all the things as a crypto miner. They said you need to tax every transaction. How? Literally impossible. I could fill this room with paperwork on 1 days of mining. And then Dubai took a little while, but Initiative 2020 really opened the doors for blockchain, and that was it, off to the races. I wanted to follow up on that, but is there a third location? I know everyone says we're looking for a third, right? And I guess US is back. I won't put Europe in there because they cook themselves a little bit with Mika, a little bit in my opinion. But are you based in Hong Kong yourselves? Is Hong Kong going to be able to do it? Because we're all hoping.
Yes.
It is, but it's going a little slower,
Yeah,
right? Than we
it's
want.
very institutional, right? So
Very
if you want to
institutional.
compare the jurisdictions, right? U.S. is the one that's the biggest, dollars, right? And then it's like regulation, and then it's very open, right? And it's very thoughtful and visionary right now, the way
Yeah.
it looks at it, right? But you got Dubai, and you got, well, basically you got UAE, and it's sort of like in the VARs of the world, you got ADGM as well. But it's sort of like when you look at it, it's not a financial center per se,
No,
right?
no.
So therefore, it doesn't have as much to lose, right? And
Well said.
it's sort of like if we were to reinvent finance, what would it look like, right? That's why the domicile is very competitive in the crypto space and able to attract a lot of companies to come and actually station there, right?
Right.
But if you are an institution, you might not necessarily trade through Dubai, right?
Correct.
If that makes sense, right?
Correct, yeah,
Because
right.
you are based in New York, London, Hong Kong, whatever, right? Now Hong Kong itself has China as the capital window, right? So it's going to have to be thoughtful and conservative, right? Because China is about capital controls, right? But at the end of the day, it looks at it as being strategically important. That's why it's going after sort of tokenized deposits, looked at CBDC. One of the first countries to really lead CBDC on a global scale, right?
Right.
But it also feels that for CBDC to work, you got to have the other central banks participating and other willing participants to trade with you.
Right.
So therefore, the adoption isn't going to be as much as sort of stablecoin. The stablecoin is very open. So how do you manage all the risks associated with the core native blockchain space, right? So Hong Kong definitely has a chance,
Yeah.
but it needs to be more aggressive, more assertive, and to rethink a lot.
Right. You stated there's two types of aggression. It's like institutional top level aggression, and then other people, because of crypto, is the startup ground level community aggression, because those guys also need licenses because they're building SocialFi and PayFi and EduTech and things like that these guys aren't really focusing on, right? So it's interesting, but I'm fascinated by this because I've been living in all of these different places, and now I'm in Asia. So I moved from LA to Dubai to Asia, and it's just bouncing around the world trying to figure it out, but it's just follow the trends, right? Yeah. So, and it's good to hear. And I know you guys have a big foot going into America as well.
Yes.
I know that's not like a hidden thing. You guys are going into it, not because of this administration, but because prior, and now you're going to ramp it up too. So looking forward to.
The US, right?
No, looking forward to seeing you.
We also have an office in Dubai, right? So,
Right.
we're in the right domicile.
Right. Yeah, looking forward to see what you guys have coming up next, and we'll have to follow you guys for some more updates. So do follow Evan and all the great people at Animoca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.